They said a man who has lost everything can't give much, but when the millionaire opened the door and saw the sight inside that small apartment, his world stopped. Because what he saw wasn't poverty, it was love, sacrifice, and something money could never buy. Chapter 1. The night was silent except for the soft whimpers of two babies. The room was cold, lit only by the dim streetlight that leaked through a cracked window. On the floor, spread with an old army blanket, lay Daniel, a single father, a veteran, and a man who carried more scars than medals. His body ached from the hard wooden floor, but his arms never let go of the twin babies resting on his chest. Daniel had once served his country with honor, but war had taken away more than he could name. His wife had passed during childbirth while he was still deployed overseas. Returning home, he found himself alone, jobless and drowning under medical bills. All that remained of his world were his two fragile children, Noah and Lily. Every night, Daniel whispered to them, "Daddy's here. Daddy will never leave you." That night, as the cold crept in, Daniel pulled the twins closer, using his own body heat as their only shelter. He couldn't afford the heater, nor even a proper crib. His neighbors often pitied him, some offered food, but most avoided the broken man who looked too tired to smile. Daniel didn't mind. His pride as a father was stronger than the hunger in his belly. What Daniel didn't know was that someone unexpected would soon step into that tiny apartment. Someone whose life of luxury and success was about to collide with the brokenness of a veteran's world. And when that moment came, nothing would ever be the same again. Hook for Chapter 2. When the millionaire pushed open the door, expecting a quick business visit, he froze. What he saw was not a struggling man. It was a father's sacrifice carved into the silence of the night. And in that moment, everything he thought he knew about wealth changed forever. Chapter 2. Jonathan Reeves was a name everyone in the city knew. A self-made millionaire, sharp in his suits and ruthless in business. People said he had no heart, only numbers in his chest. But behind the walls of his wealth, Jonathan hid a different truth. He was lonely. His mansion echoed with silence, and his successes never hugged him back. Jonathan had come to that old apartment complex because he was scouting properties for redevelopment. To him, it was just another business move. But when he stepped into the dimly lit hallway, he heard the faint sound of babies crying. Something tugged at him, pulling him toward the sound. Against his usual cold logic, he followed it. When the door creaked open, Jonathan stopped breathing. There on the floor lay Daniel, his face weary but peaceful, his arms protectively wrapped around the twins. No bed, no heater, just a father willing to give everything he had to keep his children warm. The millionaire's heart, which had been untouched for years, cracked wide open. He stood frozen watching. Memories of his own childhood surfaced. His father had left, and his mother had worked endlessly to provide. Jonathan had promised himself that money would protect him from that kind of pain. But here, in this tiny room, he saw a man who had nothing yet gave everything. Slowly Jonathan stepped forward. He whispered, "How long have you been living like this?" Daniel stirred, startled but too exhausted to rise fully. "As long as I've had to," he replied softly, his voice steady but tired. "I may not have much, but my kids, they'll never feel unloved." The words struck Jonathan harder than any deal he had ever made. That night, something changed inside him. He offered Daniel help, not pity but a chance. A safe home, a steady job, a new beginning. At first, Daniel hesitated, his pride as a soldier refusing charity. But Jonathan didn't see him as a man to be pitied. He saw him as a hero who just needed a hand to rise again. Weeks turned into months. Daniel moved into a better home. His twins finally had warm cribs, and he began working with Jonathan's foundation, helping other struggling veterans. But more importantly, a bond grew between Daniel and Jonathan, one forged not by wealth but by respect and shared wounds. And in time, Jonathan found himself becoming more than a benefactor. He became an uncle, a protector, and for the first time in years, he had a family to return to. The story ends not with money, but with a message. That true wealth isn't in what you keep, but in what you give. Jonathan had millions, but it was Daniel, the single dad who once slept on the floor, who taught him the greatest lesson of all: love is the only thing that makes a man truly rich.